Alright everybody, welcome to Math Review 3-6. For our first problem, we're going to round 24 and 46 thousandths to the nearest tenth. As you can see, we're going to focus on the tenths place, and you need to underline the hundredths place, which will tell us if we're going to round up or stay right where we're at. You get a star if you underline the 4. Now remember, our rule is 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. Since our number that's telling us if we're rounding or not is 4, we're going to stay right where we're at. And our answer is going to be 24 and 0/10. You get a star for the 2 and the 4, a star for putting the decimal, and a star for the 0, because we're rounding to the nearest tenth, so our answer has to end in the tenths place. Since if you ended in the tenths place and you didn't continue on to the hundredths, you get another star. Remember, our key idea is 5 or more, raise the score, 4 or less, let it rest. And you get another star for completing the key idea. That gives us a grand total of 7 stars for this problem. On to our subtracting decimals. Here we're going to subtract 92 and 36 hundredths minus 71 and 5 tenths. So let's go ahead and set up our problem. Remember, whenever we add or subtract decimals, we always have to line up our decimals, which means if we have a 6 in the hundredths place for our first number, we need to add in a 0 in the hundredths place for our second number. You get a star if you put that in, plus another star if you line up the decimals, and yet a third star if you set the whole problem up correctly. Now we can subtract. 6 minus 0 gives us 6. We can't subtract 3 minus 5, so we have to regroup from the 2 to give us 13, which subtract minus 5 gives us 8. Bring the decimal straight down. 1 minus 1 is 0, and 9 minus 7 gives us 2. So you get a star for each digit you got right, plus a star for the decimal being brought straight down. Remember, our key idea for subtracting decimals is to always line up the decimals. And you get another star for completing that, which should give us a grand total of 9 stars. Go ahead and count up the stars that you have for this problem and write your total down on your own paper. Finally, we come to our division problem of 8,474 divided by 19. So first, before we begin anything else, we need to set up our factor chart. We're going to go from 1 all the way down to 10. Now, we have used 19 in another math review, so if you want to go back and look at your factor chart that we made in that previous math review, you may. I'm going to go ahead and fill in our factor chart so we can see all of this. You should get a star for each factor you have correct, adding to a total of 10 stars. Once we have our factor chart, then we can go ahead and set up our problem of 8,474 divided by 19. If you put our big number on the inside as our dividend, you get a star. And the 19 as our divisor on the outside gives you another star. Now we can begin to divide. We know 19 doesn't fit into 8, so we're just going to put a 0 down there and move to the next number. 19 goes into 84 4 times. So 4 times 19, as per our factor chart, gives us 76. We set up our subtraction problem. You get a star if you set that up. And we subtract to get 8. Bring the 7 down to get 87. 19 goes into 87 another 4 times, which times 19 we already know is 76. Subtract again will get you a star, and we get 11. Bring the 4 down to get 114. That should look familiar compared to something on our factor chart. 19 goes into 114 exactly 6 times, which we subtract one more time, gives you one more star, and it's a big old 0. You can get 4 stars for your quotient to include the 0 if you put all of those numbers in. Now remember, our key idea for division is to always write your multiplication chart. That's another star if you put down your key idea. If you got all of these things that I have on here, then well done. You just got yourself 20 stars. If you didn't, make sure you mark with maybe a slash or something what you didn't get and put your correct total of stars on the top of your page. Now at this point, we're going to do our reflection. You should have 36 stars if you did every single thing correctly. So our reflection for today is going to be, I mastered blank today, but I still need to practice blank.